And I know we're all upset, but at least we can find a little bit of joy and happiness in the fact that Kevin Warren will be able to watch his son play college football at Mississippi State this year. So,
I mean, we all get to make choices unless you're a Big Ten football player.
Yeah, that's a sizable asterisk, yes. But, clang-a-clang-a-clang-a, good luck to them Bulldogs this year.
Pathetic.
Yeah, he's going to have plenty of time to catch some games in person.
I don't know. He may try and find some youth leagues to cancel too.
I hope he takes the Big Ten plane to every game. I hope those presidents are paying for the fuel up the plane and the pilot takes the Big Ten plane to every one of those games. I hope that's how they handle it.
And he'll have a lifetime deal because the only people that can do anything are the presidents and chancellors, and they're all complicit in this.
Exactly.
So, the dog wags the tail, and the tail wags the dog. What a mess we've gotten ourselves into.
You think about it, the SEC and Clemson are so ingrained in football right now, there's no way they weren't going to play. And Oklahoma and Texas, probably the same thing. There's no way they weren't going to play. This just tells the world that the Big Ten values football in a different light. And it shouldn't be like this. And I know I'm speaking like a Cro-Magnon person, I guess, but, me like I'm football or whatever. But, I just think that as Nicholson said in A Few Good Men, you've weakened a country today. And that's so true. I mean, this is going to hurt and this is going to sting for a long time. It took Woody Hayes 7 years to get over that Rose Bowl thing in 1961 before kids left. They didn't come to Ohio State because there was no guarantee you were going to go to the Rose Bowl. Now, I think cooler heads have prevailed. They got a top 100 kid from Kansas, a running back, Dasan McCullough, here just this week for 2022. So they're still recruiting blue chip players, but I'm sorry, linebacker. Thank you, Kevin. His dad's the running backs coach. That's why I had it in my head. They're still able to recruit players, but I think for some of these Big Ten programs, they're just going to continue their descent into the abyss. And I think for the ones like Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan that are trying to compete at the highest level, it's going to be that much harder to do that, I think.
But at least we'll have a gentleman's agreement. I mean, it's fantastic. We can just go back to that milquetoast. Well, we're just all out here for a fine constitutional and hopefully nobody gets hurt. And, look at this beautiful grass out here and the sun is shining. And it took Urban Meyer to come in here and flip over some tables and kick some chairs in or whatnot. And the league was finally on its right uptick. And then we bring in this joker, Kevin Warren, who sits there and sullies it all.
Urban Meyer for Big Ten commissioner.
Or college football commissioner, one or the other.
He is responsible for so many Big Ten programs elevating themselves, not just Ohio State. So, yeah, he brought the Big Ten up by its bootstraps and brought them into modern football. And it's, if that's what it takes, and it might have to require something else like that after this whole debacle is done.
True. The football was really good at certain times, but certainly was beaten down by the SEC in particular just prior to Urban Meyer's arrival. But Steve touched on a point regarding just kind of the Big Ten's approach to all of this balance of typically academics. Now it's more social issues and this medical pandemic, and football. I would say down through the years, it's been pretty effective. They have maintained a high standard of academics and usually take the high road in regards to we're siding with the academics, or in this case, again, some complex level of social issues over just being football factories or sports factories. But they botched this one. I don't think there's any question about it. And they just have to hope that there's no fall season. We got one football question that came in because it may relate directly to what we're going to see starting in January, I guess. that would be, if there's no Justin Fields, how does the quarterback battle look for 2021?
Well, if
Three true freshmen. Go ahead, Kevin.
If they have an opportunity to do something, I think that CJ Stroud probably works his way up to the top of the list. I mean, Gunnar Hoke has the most experience in terms of his time at Kentucky, and he's had a year in the program at Ohio State as the third stringer. He wasn't able to beat out Chris Chugginoff last season. You know, if they're tabled for a long time and Ohio State isn't able to do a lot, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you know, Gunnar Hoke may have he'll have an edge, but I think that if we're looking at where we would be in a 21 season, that, you know, it would be a good battle between CJ Stroud and Jack Miller. You know, I hate, you know, picking one or the other without seeing them really do anything in terms of practice. We only got through 3 spring ball practices, and they put the quarterbacks in the next county. But, you know, if you held a gun to my head on that, I would say CJ probably would be the guy that I would say that would have the edge.
And wouldn't you put the true freshman in there anyway for the winter season in preparation for the actual fall season then? Like, it would do you really no good to go with Gunnar Hoke unless you really valued this whole 8 games or whatever. And sure, they do want to win, but you get CJ Stroud or whatever, 7 games under his belt, and then it's time for Michigan. I think maybe that's what they would do. But I'm like Kevin. Everybody is throwing their – assuming it's going to be CJ Stroud. It very well may be. I just would still like to see Jack Miller do something. And then, of course, it's Kyle McCord is the true freshman along with the 2 true freshmen. So there's going to be 3 true freshmen there battling it out with Gunnar Hoke. And I know there are some who will tell you, like, don't forget about Kyle McCord, who might be more talented than any of the others. I think it's going to be – I don't think anybody can do – I don't think a freshman can come in this winter and do it because they're going to be graduating early. And usually they arrive the first week of January, which is when the games would be played. So he would have to move to Columbus, practice, do high school remotely, and then win the job. So that won't happen. But, yeah, I'm not going to give up on Jack Miller just yet. Let me see what he can do in practice. Not that we will ever be able to watch another practice again at Ohio State as long as we live.
Well, hell, I'm probably never going to get invited to another Big Ten event with my roaring support of leadership in the conference. Right?
Hey, if they penalize all the media people who've been critical of how they've handled this, they would have nobody on press row because everyone has been united in their disdain for how this has gone. I can't find anybody except for Woken and Nicole Arbach and Stewie who've, you know, fallen in line with this because, well, the Mel maybe. The 4 of them can sit courtside for the Big Ten tournament, and everybody else can watch from the parking lot, I guess.
I was gonna say I'll see you over there at either San Elmo or the what's the bar with the Long Island iced teas and the pretzels?
Kilroy's. You know, speaking of getting to watch practice, with it being basically an exhibition season in the spring, they don't have any reason to not allow people. They're going to need people to cover the team to generate interest to get people to watch it because it's outside your regular viewing pattern to watch college football in March or February. And, you know, if they're allowed to sell any tickets either, which, you know, maybe somebody would be crazy enough to buy tickets to drive to Indianapolis to watch them play. Somebody on here asked, are they going to play their home games in Indianapolis? There's no plan. Nobody knows where they're playing or who they're playing. You know, are they going to use the dome in St. Louis? Pat Murphy, who works with us, said he read they may use domes in Dallas and Houston, of all places, to play some Big Ten games, believe it or not. So I guess Atlanta would be viable too. I don't know, but
there's a dome in Iowa as well, northern Iowa.
That'd be perfect if you can't have fans. That'd be perfect. So
that arena team used to play up there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so you and I, the football team, plays there as well. But
we can go to the North Dakota, right? Whatever, Bison Dome or whatever.
Yeah. Aye, 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 guys.
Thanks, gentlemen. Appreciate it. This is Ohio State Football Talk each and every week. It gets no better than this. Kevin Noon from Rivals Buckeye Grove. He has an opinion or two once in a while. We try to drag it out of him. Tony Gerdeman, Buckeye Scoop, just below me. And, of course, Steve Hellwagon, who's gracious enough to post these videos on Bucknuts on 247 Sports. BGPO Football Funk. I got it right this time. BGPO Football Funk. That actually stands for Black and Gold, Purple and Orange. Steelers Clemson fan. There's a lot of those out there. 2 super chats. Thank you so much, DeAndre, for that. We appreciate it greatly, even though you have some kind of carpal tunnel that forces you to constantly type 4-0 for some reason. Anyway, regardless, thank you, everyone, for joining. You guys, Kevin, Tony, Steve, these guys are phenomenal. They're the best in Ohio State football coverage, and we thank all of you for your time.